Where are we at on time?
7 o'clock on the nose, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. So I'm going to call the Board of Selectmen meeting for Monday, March 22nd, open for business.
Second.
Okay, a motion's been duly made and second. A roll call is required. Mr. Rowland?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
2-0. The Board of Selectmen's meeting for Monday, March 22nd is open for business.
Perfect.
Awesome. So let's kick things off with the town administrator report, Mr. Maresco.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, thank you. Week of March 8 had a meeting with John Sheridan and Gary Zanzen, Kevin Weeks, and Patrick Delarusso on the police project and DPW project. We discussed a number of challenges and issues, including solar power, as we're getting moving in earnest with the police project, and we're in earnest on design with the DPW project. Had a meeting that week with Lenny LaForest, Marshfield Fair Association, regarding the drive-in and having a second screen and starting up the shows in April. So we'll hear more about that later this evening. Attended the DPW Board of Public Works meeting on IT position at 965 Plain Street and volunteer policy. A couple of weeks ago, Patrick and I both attended. Attended the Marshfield Police Construction meeting on Zoom. Media interviews with Channel 4 on the clinic. Board of Health meeting with Mark McDonald to go over some issues regarding inspections of food establishments and phone calls. Attended a meeting with Patrick Delarusso concerning some benchmarks for PMA to be meeting with the police and DPW projects. Meeting with No Fossil Fuel, Patrick, myself, and Matt Parent, our energy consultant, to finalize the amendment to the PPA, adding a number of other solar projects to the PPA. Attended the Senior Center Building Committee meeting with P3 and Page Construction regarding their project, and we got some great information. It's up on the website, or going up on the website today, of them pouring the cement and putting the steel in, and a little eye-tube. Meeting with Fred Russell to review some outstanding projects and updates on the completion of those projects and payout. Did a 6 a.m. interview at the fairgrounds with Channel 4 on the clinic. Patrick and I met with Susan Tiskowitz from the advisory board. She's one of the new members, and she had some questions about debt, and we did a mini debt presentation for her. Later tonight, we'll be doing a full scale debt presentation. Interviews with Channel 5 and the Boston Globe at the fairgrounds regarding the clinic. Conducting bargaining session with DPW on collective bargaining and a new contract for them. Participated in the police project meeting regarding their building. We moving around a piece of their project that's no longer needed, the mezzanine and overhead door on a particular section of the project. Participated in Munis public hearing. Patrick Delarusso, our treasurer collector, put together a public hearing, invited the advisory board and capital budget to get a Munis presentation and for them to be able to ask what other questions that they had about the software. Following that, we participated in a capital budget meeting at about 8:30. And after some additional questions and answers, capital budget fully supported the recommendation and purchase of the Munis software. Participated in capital budget meeting. It's a breakfast meeting with Steve to go over a number of issues, including the dog park. Meeting with Danielle Kerrigan and Jean Marie from the Board of Health to handle some issues. Week of March 15, meeting with PMA, Patrick and myself. It's a weekly meeting to look at what phases of the project PMA is going to be moving forward on particular weeks so that we're prepared for the general building committee meetings that will ensue later in the week. Meeting with Tom Reynolds on Peter Igle Park issue. There's some issues that are mitigating out there with, you know, if the line should be painted for pickleball or taped. They were painted one time, then they were taped, and it's sort of a big issue. Meeting with, but I'm going to get to the bottom of it. Meeting with Craig Jameson regarding programs at the rec department, trying to put together a glow-in-the-dark golf, Easter egg hunt, and nature walks. Facility meeting with Fred Russell on closeout projects, closing out the town hall elevator project, town hall siding, North River Art Society projects, and school projects at EF circulation and HVAC at Furnace Brook. Let's see, we had my monthly department head meeting where we talked about COVID changes in the law, additional public hours. Joe Rossi was there to talk about hazard mitigation, and I gave an update on capital projects. We had another DPW bargaining session where we were able to reach a tentative settlement, waiting for the MOU to be signed, but it's safe to say that we've settled now with the DPW. We've already settled with the police and the fire, so we have 3 of the biggest unions settled with so far. Meeting with Town Council Bob Galvin and Patrick Delarusso to talk about cannabis revenue and the state requirements for recording. We had a remote Zoom meeting with Bill Grafton on the draft 505 regulations. Also attended the public hearing with Bob Galvin on the rollout of the 505. It went very well. There were a number of attorneys and citizens that turned in to participate in that public hearing, and it went well. Meeting with Chief Hawking to go over how we handle our shut-ins at the clinic, and you'll hear more about that when I give an update on the clinic. Meeting with Matt Parent as the town energy consultant regarding additional projects that we're putting into the PPA and charging stations at the new buildings. Meeting with Andrew Stewart regarding construction issues on Old Ocean Street. We had the first meeting of the Fire Chief Search Committee with Selectman Darcy we organized the committee. We had a schedule set up to receive apps by the 19th. We did have another meeting today. Meeting with Tom Reynolds and Dan Bowen to review some outstanding DPW issues. Meeting with Fred Russell regarding starting of the Furnace Brook Middle School HVAC project. Patrick and I had a meeting with No Fossil Fuel and Matt Parent to finalize the PPA. And finally, weekly DPW meeting with PMA with Tom Reynolds, etc. So that is my report, Mr. Chairman.
Great. Lots of good stuff in there. Pretty busy week.
Yes.
Mr. Darcy, any questions?
I think it's great that the new member of the advisory board's being so proactive and looking to learn and be very hands-on and involved. So I think that's great. And a lot of good things happening right now. And Michael, you're on a roll with the union contract. Keep it going, buddy.
Thank you. It was really great. If I could just echo Mr. Selectman Darcy, it was wonderful. She came and we put a nice presentation together. She had great questions, and we think that she left with a better understanding. And we told her, feel free to call us anytime. That's what we're here for, to be able to help people.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, Sue's a sharp individual, and I'm pleased that she stepped up to be the volunteer for the advisory board.
Yes.
Excellent. So let's just move right into the update on our drive-through vaccination center, Mr. Maresco.
Sure. I'm very happy to say that at the close of business on Saturday, we were able, since February 8th through the 4 o'clock on Saturday, 19,211 vaccinations took place. And we could do so many more. Our clinic's having the same problem that all the clinics are, and that is there's still a shortage of the vaccine. The state's waiting for the federal government to kick up the numbers. Once that happens, we'll get more. We operate at about 125% efficiency. We have zero waste. And I'm proud to report to the board that we've started to take care of the shut-ins. We're taking care of them on Sundays. We had scheduled this past Sunday, next Sunday, and the following Monday. We've already gone through half the list on Sunday. The fire department with some volunteers go house to house and vaccinate the shut-ins. Those are people that can't get out, they can't drive, they're in a wheelchair, they're bedridden, etc. And they were just so happy. They probably could have done more, but when they got to people's homes, the people were just so happy to have some people visiting them. When I talked to everyone to get the update, they said that people were just thrilled to know that they were not forgotten. So, people, we have the clinics open Tuesday through Saturday. It's a challenge to get an appointment at our clinic, just like anyone else's. You got to go through the state website, mass.gov vaccine sign up. click on the start. It's next to Marshfield, and roll the dice. It takes a while. You need to be patient, but that's how you can get an appointment. And that's my report on the drive-through.
It's really, really great information. I mean, think about it, 19,000 people. We're approaching the regular population of our town. I know that we're vaccinating, anyone from the Commonwealth that can get an appointment, as there are the other centers. But as we all know, more and more vaccine is becoming available, and more people are becoming eligible. So I think we're moving in the right direction. And I give a ton of credit to you, Mr. Maresco, and to our volunteers and to our coordinators and to the fairgrounds and everyone else that's been involved in it. It's just been, I've heard, obviously there's frustration for some people that haven't been able to get through, and again, continue to keep trying. But for the people that have, there's been nothing but praise for how the operation's been going. So I'm very pleased with that. Mr. Darcy, any feedback, questions?
Yeah, the fact that there's been zero waste and the efficiency is over 100% has been amazing. Michael, Patrick, you guys are there every Saturday, all day, and police and fire and the volunteers are all doing a great job. And I'm not sure if Bill Hawking feels like he's in full retirement yet, because he's pretty busy down there. So he's doing a great job to it. And our Deputy Fire Chief, Michael LaSalva. And there's just so much positive energy there and feedback. It's been great. And it's just a great sense of community and spirit down there at the vaccination clinic. And I think the only negative thing I've heard is the coffee, and that's pretty much it. So that's pretty sweet, pretty special.
You're right about that, Mr. Darcy. The coffee, if you like strong coffee, it's very strong coffee, but it really is a team effort down there. There are so many people, from the volunteers, from the medical people. The deputy chief is doing a fantastic job of managing it with Bill Hawking. I just can't say enough, but it's really a team. It takes a village to be able to do an operation like that. So we appreciate everyone's hard work.
Yeah, and I have to point out, everyone needs to remember, this is in addition to everyone's normal duties that would not be, this would not be happening during a pandemic. So the amount of extra time, brain power, everything that's gone into putting this together logistically, it's not easy. And, the fact that it kind of looks easy is a great testament. And I think the other thing I've run into a lot as well is people who have been volunteers multiple times and multiple days. And, they feel, the ones I've spoken to have felt very fulfilled to be doing something that they really feel is making a difference with our town and our country and our Commonwealth. So, one day we won't be doing it anymore, and that'll be good. But if we have to do it, let's do it right. And I think it's a good thing. So good stuff.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Could I just one
Sure.
thing? The assessors asked me in my report if I would just remind folks that the Board of Assessors is going to be starting their cyclical inspections, and people will be coming to their house. They'll be identified. They'll have a badge. They're registered with the Marshfield Police Department. This is something that's mandated every 10 years by the DOR. And what the cyclical inspectors do, as Mr. Darcy knows, as a former assessor like myself, the inspectors will have your property card. They go to the house, they knock on the door. If you're home, most people let you in, and they're just there to verify everything on the card. If everything's fine, they'll leave. If they need to add stuff, they'll add whatever there. It's relatively painless. It's very quick. And if you're not home, they'll leave a card. You can call and reschedule it. So thank you.
A very good point. I would assume there are some safety precautions continuing for COVID. And if somebody is concerned about someone going in their home at this point, can they still interact with the assessors? Is that going to be a possibility?
The inspectors themselves will have, they follow. So when they come to your door, they'll do the same screening like if you went anywhere else. They ask if anyone in the household had COVID. I'm assuming that the residents would ask the same thing, but people going into their homes, they'll have full face, coverings and stuff like that to protect themselves and to protect the homeowners.
Okay, excellent. And I'm assuming we're going to put something on the town website about this as well.
Yes, we have a flyer up on the town website, and we've sent it out to the media.
Great, perfect. Steve, anything? Mr. Darcy?
Yeah, I mean, folks, you don't have to let them in. It certainly makes the job a lot easier and more accurate, but you don't have to let the assessors into your house if you don't want to.
Okay. All right. So next thing on the agenda is the annual debt presentation by Michael Moresco and Patrick Del Russo. You guys ready to roll on that?
We are.
Okay.
Okay, John's going to share the screen. Patrick and I are going to take turns. Marshfield debt and fixed costs, 32221. Overview. To discuss the town's debt service budgets today and in the coming years, to review home borrowing impacts, fixed costs in our operating budget, to go over the impacts of interest rates in our long-term financial plan, and to clarify the general fund debt policy in relation to the town's overall debt picture.
So as you see on the next slide here, we have debt services looking like 30 years out. We thought it was really important to include this slide in the presentation this year, so people sort of get an idea of the recent borrowings that we did. As you'll realize, is that we have one year left after this, and then your debt service will never be as high as it is today. So they drop down increasingly due to a lot of debt that we had from 20 years ago starting to fall off. Next slide, please. Our percentage of this slide, particularly the percent of debt retired annually. It's important to look down. If everybody, it might be hard to see, but 2031 will have approximately 60% of our debt retired overall in the town. That's a goal that Michael and I have really worked very hard to get to every single 10 years. That's the key number that the bond rating agencies look at. To get to a AAA community, you have to have that number close to 60. And happy to report that for 4 consecutive years now we have. And if everybody recalls, I mean, we moved quite a bit of outstanding bands through our debt service, and we fit it into the picture to keep it that way. It was quite an effort, and we accepted the challenge and we succeeded. Thank you. Next slide.
FY 2022 debt obligation, $12,149,414. FY 2022 general fund debt service obligation is $3,873,611. FY's 2022 excluded debt is $6,178,109. And this year's cumulative enterprise fund debt is $2,097,694. 10-year outlook. If you take a look at the 10-year outlook, you'll see FY 2021 net debt as of June 30th, 2018 is $3,898,870. 5% limit would be $5,007,141. Projected budget is $100,142,827. The percent is 3.89%, and available capacity is $1,108,271. And you can see that right down through 2031. So we do a 10-year outlook.
And this slide here is the entire general fund's obligation to the debt service. This is what is actually going to get passed, hopefully at town meeting going into FY 2022. It's a really good fact to point out that you see a lot of red. Usually you don't like to see red in a budget, except when it's a fixed cost. We see red and fixed costs, we smile, right? This is it. All kidding aside, this that as Michael and I have mentioned during the budget presentations, and as Ms. Moresco will present to the town. These moves right here that you see at the lower level here, the other debt services, getting rid of that short-term interest, that saved jobs this year in the tight budget that we had. No questions about it. It really did. It's almost $400,000. That's 4 cops. Or 4 firefighters, or 6 teachers that we keep on the rolls when we make moves like that. So that's just something we want everybody to sort of keep in mind, and we're really proud of that achievement.
And, this goes back to, just to piggyback on to what Patrick was saying, this is exactly what you, the Board of Selectmen, wanted us to do. The charge to both Patrick and I was to look at ways to make sure that we could maintain services, not have to lay anyone off and not have to furlough them. And because of your leadership, we were able to work with the unions. We were able to create a work-at-home policy. And we were also got the unions to adopt some language where, if necessary, we could move folks to like jobs. So all of that really helped our employees stay employed.
This is a debt service chart that reflects inside versus outside debt. It's always good to have excluded debt higher than tax supported inside, sort of inside the cap debt, which is in blue, right? Why is that? Because the red will eventually go away. The blue stays in the operating budget forever.
Next slide, please. Debt to overall budget, general fund and excluded debt. General fund debt is 3.75% of the overall proposed budget, which means that it's very well managed. Excluded debt is 5.99% of the total $103,174,585 proposed FY22 budget. Next slide, please. What we have to show for our investment outside debt. With 5.9% of all expenses townwide, we have, through debt exclusions, accomplished and underway on the following. Beautiful high school that is the envy of the South Shore. We have a new roof on our middle school to keep that building in great condition for years to come. We are underway on the construction of a state-of-the-art police station. We are supporting our DPW with a new facility and have already purchased a new administration building with garage bays. We are expanding our footprint at the senior center and have recognized the growing need through the addition. And we have, for the first time, made a $3.5 million commitment to reinforce our seawalls preemptively rather than by reaction caused by nature.
Our enterprise fund debt to budget. Enterprise fund is compiled of three funds and is 17% of the overall debt obligation of the $12,149,414. Wastewater, as you see, $994K. Water, $1.1 million, and we're happy to report that 2 years ago, the solid waste department now carries no debt. What that means, enterprise funds role. The enterprise funds have the ability to raise rates, right? Which means that it keeps it's any expenses that they decide to borrow on, right, gets worked into their associated rate for water or sewer usage, right? In the past, it was a 60-40 town to sewer split associated with the wastewater department. That was absolved by previous administrations, and I know Michael, myself, and Mr. Reynolds have had discussions about potentially revisiting that with the blessing of the Board of Selectmen somewhere down the line in the future. So should that arise, it will, again, like I said, have to be clarified at the board level, not at my level. Thank you. Next slide. The wastewater debt in FY22. This is 26% of the wastewater proposed budget in FY20's budget was $3,770,271. There's $30,000 set aside for any projects that arise, any short-term borrowing stuff we have. I have to say, on the wastewater piece, DPW has done a good job. If you guys recall, a few years back, it was very dicey. There was a lot of losses, but they did make some cuts, and they did increase the rates to kind of offset that stuff. But that 26% number is something to watch. Water debt for FY 2022 is $1,102,935, or 23% of the water's proposed budget. A lot of that cost is related to the Capitol building. So this number was down to around 900, but of course, when you take on millions of dollars in debt, you have to amortize that all out over the life of the project. We are very pleased to report that the revenues for water this year have been up substantially due to increased usage. And there's been very positive retained earnings in the past 2 years. And I think that we're going to continue to see that down the line.
Debt capacity in relation to debt policy. Town of Marshfield has a debt policy which states we may only expend 5% of our operating budget on GF debt. Some communities practice a debt to budget ratio of up to 15% of the overall operating budget. Marshfield's actual allowable debt is compliant with the policy today and going forward at 3.8%.
A 5-year plan. This is what we talk about, and Michael say to the town address a lot with the support of the board. Where this is sort of where we get down to it now that we have an idea of what 22 is. Now that we have Michael has the MOU for the final big union group. We're able to comfortably present this out to the public now with some really good accurate figures. You see the area we want to focus on is the expenditures in the green. This is really where we are right now with our fixed costs. As you see, we have a lot of challenges that lie ahead with relation to the fixed costs that we can't control, right? Fixed costs we can't control is pension, health insurance, state assessments, and our general insurance liabilities, right? It's very, very important and critical that we maintain, that we hold the line on our debt. Debt service is the only fixed cost that the selectmen and the folks that are working for you guys like us, right, can control. That's it. It's the only one. The rest of the stuff is predicated on outside variables, right? So it's super important that we have, as you see, if you guys follow the debt service non-excluded and excluded down the line over the years, you'll see that decreasing as the other fixed costs are increasing, right? So we don't have to make operational cuts. That's the key here, is that we don't have to make operational cuts, and we can try to work to get other revenue streams to come in down the line.
Next slide. Impact on operating budget. Our debt is a fixed cost, and any debt service obligation we have directly takes away from funds available for the operating budget. Simply put, if our debt obligation goes down, we have more funds available in our operating budget for town services, police, fire, DPW, schools, town hall. Our team. We will continue to monitor the bond market and interest rates with assistance from our financial advisors. This will ensure we are making prudent and well-planned financial decisions. A point we'd like everyone to remember, especially during this budget process, is that every dollar we borrow today takes away from our operating budget tomorrow. Thank you. And if folks have questions, we're happy to answer.
See, our chairman has returned, has joined us. Oh, you're on mute, Michael.
All right, there we go. I was on, then I got bounced out. Now I'm back. All right, thank you, Chris, for taking it. I was on another Zoom meeting.
No, absolutely.
So it looks like we just finished the debt presentation by Mike and Pat, correct?
Yes.
We did.
Okay. And did anybody have any questions on it, Chris or Steve?
I don't really have questions. I just, I think it was well done, and it's nice, to see, a lot of things like this is about proper management and good management, and I feel like we're in good hands with you, Patrick and Michael, and the debt service. Like you said, the more we can do without having to go into debt, the better it is for the town. And there's a very thoughtful way of managing this, and I think especially with COVID. And the challenges we've had in the last year, and I've seen a lot of other. I know we're a municipality, but I've seen a lot of other companies and organizations having to, go furlough employees and cut staff and other types of cuts. And for us to not have done that this year is just a testimony to your management. So I just want to express my appreciation there.
Thank you.
Steve?
Yeah, you guys have done a great job cleaning up and stabilizing the books, and we're one of the only communities in the entire Commonwealth that did not have any layoffs as a result of, COVID's impact on municipal budgets. So that's a pretty special thing that you guys were able to accomplish, and I hope a lot of folks understand that and appreciate that. And I view our role as empowering the full-time, day-to-day folks who know what they're doing, and you guys are obviously doing a great job. So keep it up, and thanks for giving us the flexibility to pursue some great things for our town because our budget's in good shape.
And I concur with all of that, Mike and Patrick. Great planning, great, assessment of the pandemic when we first started, and creation of the task force to make sure we didn't we didn't lose out like other communities have. One thing I want to touch on, I know you mentioned the enterprise accounts and the split. Did we get into, what the concern with the DPW is on that, or no, Mike? Maybe for another time.
We did, yeah. Patrick touched upon some of it. I mean, some of the stuff they cleaned up, they have some challenges, and certainly you'll see at town meeting in the solid waste portion because, they have the new contract. There was the $700,000 new contract, so that will be reflected in the enterprise account for solid waste.
The rates in those areas they have no option but to go up.
Okay.
They're just.
And I know that we spent a lot of time on it when I got in here, and Steve Robbins spent a lot of time on it before me to make sure that we presented a fair split that we evaluate every year. We continue to believe it's fair. I know others do not believe that, but I know that you, Michael, and Patrick have done a great job to make sure that what was agreed upon has been implemented.
And we have, and when it relates to the indirect, one of the things when the board hired me and I met with the DPW, I knew it was a bone of contention, the indirects. And the one thing I promised them is that we wouldn't always agree, but I would meet with them, and I meet with them every single year. We have to sometimes agree to disagree, but the indirect policy is a percentage. It's not an exact. A lot of time and effort went into creating the indirect with the member from the Board of Selectmen and a member of the DPW Board of Public Works. And the culmination of that is this, 300-page document, which manifests itself into, percentages of charges charged off to the DPW. Now, likewise, the same works for us. So, they go out, they put new meters into the municipal buildings. That then jacks, like anyone else, you put a new meter in, you're going to see an increase in the water. Those are the offsets. So on our side, we have costs, for my services, town council services, treasurer collector, the finances, things like that, payroll, et cetera. So we offset that with DPW, and DPW offsets, water usage in municipal buildings. So everything's a trade-off. We sit down, we discuss things, we make adjustments. I think this particular year we made $196,000
Reasonable.
worth of concessions to, in the spirit of detente with the DPW.
Well, great. I know that you spent a lot of time on it, and that split continues to be fair and reasonable. So thank you for the update. It looks like we're on to the action items. Am I right, Chris? Or did you get to any of these?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Okay. So Mike, it's action item A, discussion and vote on the proclamation for National Library Week, April 4th through the 10th. Do you have the proclamation in front of you, Mike?
Yes, I do.
Maybe we can make Steve work here. Steve, do you have it in front of you?
Yeah, I have the PDF open. Let me just scroll to the right appropriate.
Well, we have a few more meetings where I can, have you do stuff as the clerk. So.
All right. Yeah, I can't wait to get bumped up to vice chairman. So you can
Know all about
Let's
that.
let's read it.
Yeah, let her read. All right. So proclamation for National Library Week 2021. Whereas libraries of all types are at the heart of their cities, towns, schools, and campuses serving their communities. Whereas libraries are accessible and inclusive places that foster a sense of belonging and community. Whereas today's libraries and their services extend far beyond the four walls of a building, and everyone is welcome to use their resources. Whereas for people lacking broadband at home, libraries provide access to computers and Wi-Fi, even checking out internet hotspots and laptops. Whereas libraries strive to develop and maintain programs and collections that are as diverse as the populations they serve and ensure equity of access for all. Whereas libraries offer opportunities for everyone to explore new worlds and become their best selves through access to technology, multimedia content, and educational programs. Whereas in times of crisis, libraries, librarians, and library workers play an invaluable role in supporting their communities both in person and virtually. Whereas to adapt to our changing world, libraries are expanding their resources and continuing to meet the needs of their patrons. Whereas libraries are cornerstones of democracy, promoting the free exchange of information and ideas for all. Whereas libraries have long served as trusted and treasured institutions for all members of the community, regardless of race, ethnicity, creed, ability, sexual orientation, gender identity, or socioeconomic status. Whereas libraries, librarians, and library workers are joining library supporters and advocates across the nation to celebrate National Library Week. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Selectmen proclaim April 4th through April 10th, 2021 as National Library Week in the town of Marshfield. During this week, we encourage all residents to visit their library online to access resources and services and witness our hand and seal of the town of Marshfield on this day, Monday, March 22nd in the year 2021.
And that is a motion, Steve. I'll second that motion.
Motion's been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Bradley,
Aye.
Mr. Rowland,
Aye.
Mr. Darcy.
Aye.
Unanimous vote to support the proclamation for National Library Week 2021. If I may, Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Cindy Marcoux has put together a whole bunch of programs. If you go on the library's website for National Library Week, there'll be a number of things people can participate in. And, you know, during the COVID, people have been taking out books in record-breaking amounts. Libraries very good about sanitizing and cleaning the books. They get back, they put them out on the carts. People can now go into the library, take their own books out. A lot of people still prefer to call and order their books and pick them out. They also have these nice little lockers for books where your books will go in, you show up, you take your books out or return them in the locker space. So it's gone really well. And in fact, the library, at my department head meeting, we talked about Earth Day, and the library is already involved with planting of trees. People can call and order a tree to plant. So thank you.
Excellent. Thanks, Mike. All right, next item, discussion and vote to declare equipment as surplus for auction and destruction. What gems do you have for us this week, Patrick?
Oh, wow, guys, we have a 1987 Bombardier. We have a 1999 pumper. We have a 1970s generator. We have a 1968 water pump with no hoses, right? We have a Crown Vic. We have a Dodge Freestyle, I believe, that has some transmission issues, but don't let that get in the way of putting in a bid. You know, get out there, but the time to buy is now, okay? The time to buy is now.
Is that the full list, Patrick?
Yeah, it's all, you guys, the list is,
Asphalt.
the asphalt burner. That's the one that crushes up the stone into the asphalt. We replaced that, I think recently.
Okay, so is that actually the full list now, Patrick?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah,
All
I wanted to add a little pizzazz to the list tonight for you guys. You know,
I always love to see what we get for these things. I know you get
What's that?
you get way more than I think you're going to get.
Guys, let me just explain also here. So just to let everybody know, these things, as all kidding aside, generates a town over 100,000 a year now annually is what we're bringing in off these auctions, off stuff that would otherwise have been thrown to the junkyard for scrap metal. So what will happen is it's going to go on a public auction site called GovDeals. Tomorrow morning, you guys can hop online and you guys can make bids. Anybody watching tonight that's interested in any of those items, feel free to click on my name at our website, and I'll be happy to direct you if you need the links. It touches the database of the national and international shareholders, effectively, other governments, other people that look stuff. We had people from the Dominican Republic buy our last fire truck because they don't have access to the heavy equipment down there for whatever reason. So they were so grateful. It was really fantastic because it's going to actually go really help a community. Whereas, us, it doesn't make sense for us to have something like that old. It costs us so much maintenance. For these guys, it's going to save people's lives. So it does have its good parts, and then it has its funny part. The one day that Michael and I did in the Gov Deal, it turned into a party bus. The senior center van turned into the party bus. So it's kind of neat.
It had
190,000.
190,000 miles. It did start and drive, although when the guy was going down 139, it did break down. But he got it jump started and he drove off.
Yeah.
One man's junk is another man's treasure. So
That's it.
all right. So I make a motion to declare that equipment as surplus and for auction or destruction.
Second.
Motion been duly made and second. A roll call is in order. Mr. Bradley,
Aye.
Mr. Rowland,
Aye.
Mr. Darcy.
Aye.
Unanimous vote to declare this surplus and for Patrick to be able to auction it off. Thank you.
Okay. Mike, next item is the vote to request for the drive-in.
Yes, and yep, I'll give you some info. So, yeah, Eugene Dean is here from Fiesta Shows and Lenny LaForest from the fairgrounds. As you know, last year, they came before the board and with this idea about doing a drive-in, people needed to do something. It went very well. There were no complaints, real family activities. And this year they're back. They're before the board tonight because they would like to get started April 1st through October 31st with the screen that they have right now. And that is, they'd like to start showing movies Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nights. And at the same time, they are going to be going to the ZBA because they want to put a second screen in so they can do 2 movies. And they're both here. Eugene, E.J. Dean is here tonight and Lenny LaForest. So if the board has any questions, they'll be happy to answer those questions. But they're looking for support so that, with April vacation coming up and the nice spring weather like tonight, that they can provide this service.
All right. Before I get to Lenny and Eugene, Mike, my main concern right now is how would this interfere with the vaccination clinic?
It won't. So so when you look at where the clinic is, where the cars come in, if you were coming in and you take the left into the actual fairground, the theaters were going to be to the right-hand side. You see where this the big screen is? It's as you come in, it's sort of dead ahead. It's facing the back of it's facing the grandstand there. So it doesn't interfere with the clinic whatsoever. If by some strange, turn of fate, they're able to do the fair, they wouldn't do the drive-in during the fair. We wouldn't be able to do the clinic during the fair also, if that was to take place. But the 2 screens would have no effect. They operate at night and the clinic operates 9 to 4.
So the parking will be, because I've gone and I really liked it, on multiple occasions. So you pull in the same area. So simply is it just not being used?
There's no crossover, no. Because people would start to arrive like 2 hours ahead of time. So I think they would open like at 5. We shut down at 4.
Okay. So that was my concern. I know there's probably similar concern from Chris and Steve. Let's hear from Lenny and Eugene. Lenny, how you doing?
EJ, you want to make the presentation?
No, certainly. Well, thank you all, gentlemen. Again, thank you last year, for kind of taking that blind faith of letting us bring a drive-in to the, Marshfield Fairgrounds into the community. It was well received, did very well, liked by families. We had a nice, unfortunately, no new movies were available, but they had a nice selection of, family movies and kind of classics of, Jaws and Jurassic Park and so forth. So as Mike had mentioned, looking to again do it this year, obviously knowing the concerns of the limitations that the selectmen are able to do on their own. We have gone before the ZBA to get those extensions and get more of a the permanent need of what we're looking for. In the meantime, in talking to Mike, just trying to get an earlier start, got to get momentum, get it built up as the ZBA process takes a little time with posting and so forth. But as of right now, looking to operate it strictly as the one screen, as anyone that came last year experienced it, with the hope that we're able to expand later on.
Okay. So I again, was there on multiple occasions. I thought you did a great job in trying to keep people distanced and apart. It was one of the few activities you could actually do last year. The kids love it. And I'd like to see you continue it because I think it's great for the community. So I want to let my colleagues ask any questions they have. Chris?
No, I have no questions. I mean, my questions were basically your questions, Mr. Chairman. I think I too attended multiple times, and it was great to get away. And the feedback I've received from other townspeople is just a nice thing to have. And the renaissance of the drive-through, I think it's if there's one good thing that happened from COVID is that, because I miss the old days of the drive-through. So I thought it was great. Great family fun. That's all I have.
Yeah, I think the drive-in theater was a great idea, and I especially loved being there in October when all the Halloween-themed movies were coming out. It felt like very festive, a very festive atmosphere. We needed it very badly when things were very, very tough with COVID. One question I wanted to ask you. So for our very large viewing audience watching this meeting from home, Eugene, could you just explain maybe where that second screen would be for folks who are trying to picture where that would be located?
Yeah, the second screen would go to the east of the first screen, kind of where they staged the demo derby, what I refer to as the pit area during the fairgrounds, the gravel area that continues beyond. So not going towards South River Street, but actually going the opposite direction from where the screen is now, going towards the back of the grounds. We placed it there, well, looked to place it there based on being the most minimal impact to abutters, to residents and so forth. So, moving it, kind of even further into the grounds.
There's
Thank
Mr. Marusco has a outline of where it is for those that can see it from where they are.
It's a good
So
time
Mike-
for a screen grab for Lenny and Mike, Lenny and James, and MCTV and everyone.
So Mike, when I'm looking at it there, are the two white objects the screens or the green?
No.
objects?
Okay, so if you could see this, so right now, if you went there, the screen is right here
Okay,
where my finger is. They're gonna move that screen to over here,
I see.
okay? And then there's a road that goes out. It goes out beyond gate A. So gate A is like over here. This is beyond. And this is where the second screen will be, way over here.
Okay, I
Awesome.
see it now and I get a
Okay,
sense
see,
of
and here's
it.
the road right there. Another access point.
Mike, do we have the paperwork last year? Didn't we have a limit on capacity or no? What's the projected capacity for both of these screens now?
I'd have to defer it to Eugene and to Lenny on that.
No, certainly. The screen that we had last year, we had a capacity, I think we had permitted for 250. I believe we fit about 230 cars, on that screen area. We're assuming that, although we'll, with approval, we'll reposition that screen. That screen will stay at the same number, right around the 225 to 230 mark. The second screen that we're looking to add would be around the 250 mark to 275, just because there's a slightly more room there, but there's also some light poles and stuff. So it's, it doesn't actually get maxed for, technically being more space. When what we do also in consideration, knowing last year we didn't have traffic issues, both on entrance and exit. One of the things that we do is we stagger the start times of the two different movies so that they don't, begin and end immediately on top of each other.
Okay, but you want two movies to go at the same time, essentially. You're gonna have one movie close, people will get parking will go, and the other movie will finish and parking will go after that.
Correct.
Okay. So I'd love to see a parking plan on it. Is that what you have there, Mike, or do we need something more detailed?
Yes, this is it doesn't have how the cars go in. We can get one. I'm sure that Eugene can supply us one, but this is just a graphic that shows how the cars would be exiting. So this is how the cars would be exiting out to 3A. They would be coming in. You come in from the South River Street side.
So Eugene, if you could just in the future give us a more detailed parking plan. I want to just give it to Kevin Filer, the safety officer, and just make sure he gets a sign off on it. I'm going to make it contingent upon his approval tonight, as well as the ZBA approval that you need.
Certainly.
Any further questions, Chris or Steve?
I have one last question, either Lenny or Eugene. I know last year you couldn't quite make it work. You guys were thinking about doing maybe like a laser show at the movie theater as well to entertain the kids before the films start. Is that something you would kind of try to circle back on and try to make work this year or no?
Yeah, yes, it is. It's actually the company that we used to produce that only had one system. And by the time we were able to make the final commitment, they were already booked out. So the process now would essentially for us to look at buying our own so that we can be able to do that on select nights.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Eugene, what were the hours, or Mike, what hours did we contain this to last time?
I believe that everything had to be over and they had to be out by midnight.
Correct.
Was it 11:30, Mike?
I think it was like 11:30. The movie had to end, and that gave like a half an hour for the cars to disperse from the fairgrounds.
Was it 11:30, Eugene? Do you remember? I think it was 5 to 11:30 with,
Yeah, it was that the movies had to be over by 11:30.
okay. So I make a motion to approve.
Mr. Chairman, if I may just,
Sure.
if I may suggest, the board would probably want to do two votes. And the reason I'm suggesting that, because the first piece of it, they want to operate the first screen, starting on April 1st through the 31st. And the reason they want to do it that way, because they don't know how the ZBA will vote, because in order to have the second screen, the board's been very good about allowing that use at the fair. But in order to have the two screens, they'll need to get ZBA to allow that through zoning. So if the board could do one vote, pending, Officer Filer signing off and pending on a traffic layout. And then the second one would be predicated on a positive vote from the ZBA.
Okay, and date April 1st, what was the end date again?
April 1st to October 31st.
Okay, so I make a motion to approve the drive-in at the Marshfield Fairgrounds for screen 1 from 5 p.m. to 11:30 p.m., subject to silent filers.
Thursday through Saturday. Thursday through Sunday.
Thursday through Sunday.
Second.
Motion's been made, duly recorded. A roll call is requested. Mr. Bradley,
Aye.
Mr. Rowland,
Aye.
Mr. Darcy.
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve the first drive-in from April 1st to October 31st.
Same timeframes on the other one if they get approval, correct?
Yes.
All right. Motion to approve second screen subject to ZBA approval. Approval from Sergeant Filer for the safety plan to be run from April 1st to October 31st, Thursday through Sunday, 5 p.m. to 11:30 p.m.
A motion's been made and duly second. A roll call is in order. Mr. Bradley,
Aye.
Mr. Rowland,
Aye.
Mr. Darcy.
Aye.
Unanimous vote for the second screen pending ZBA approval and sign off from Officer Filer.
Well, I would just like to personally say thank you to everybody and look forward to seeing you all at the movies.
Well, we'll be there again. I know my family.
Yeah, for sure.
All
We'll
right.
be there.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you, Lenny.
All right, thanks for your time.
You got us.
Thanks, Lenny.
Next item up, discussion and vote, Mass Clean Water Trust debt refi.
Patrick's gonna update everyone on that.
Sure. Thank you guys very much. As you all know, interest rates are lower than 2% right now to borrow. The Clean Water Trust is effectively taking advantage of that. 20 years ago, when the town elected to take out loans for water and sewer projects, they went through the Mass Clean Water Trust, which is what some treasurers elect to do. We're going to be taking advantage of that by reducing our interest rates with this refinance program that's being offered. It's that we don't really have much of a choice except to sign it and do it, as our debt is beholden to them. They make the decisions on it when you go through the Clean Water Trust. So I would respectfully request that the selectmen support this. And if I get your guys' signatures, we will send this off to Boston.
Okay, any questions, Chris, Steve?
No, makes sense to me. No questions.
No questions.
Okay, motion to approve the debt refinance of the Mass Clean Water Trust.
Second.
Motion's been made and duly second. A roll call is in order. Mr. Bradley,
Aye.
Mr. Rowland,
Aye.
Mr. Darcy.
Aye.
Unanimous vote to accept and sign the Mass Clean Water Trust 32221. Thank you.
Next up, discussion and vote on a request from our harbor master, Mike DeVeo, to take some time off for military service, or to take advanced time off for military service. Mike, just give us the.
Sure. So what
you
we're
want to do.
looking for, so Mike DeMayo, our harbor master, is also a Coast Guard commandant, and he works in Boston. And he is owed some time as of July 1. he will receive some additional time, 20 days. And what he's asking is that the board allow him to use that time now so he doesn't have to have payless days to serve our country. He would be getting those days as of July 1. However, he's serving our country right now in the Coast Guard. And what he's doing is he is United States Coast Guard COVID-19 Crisis Action Team in District 1, which is from the Canadian border all the way down to Toms River, New Jersey. And, he's working on COVID-related activities. And he has 17 military days that will be available to him per his contract on July 1. He's going to be 17 short right now. So he's asking the Board of Selectmen to simply advance those days to him, which he would get in July anyways.
Makes complete sense to me. I want him to have this training, so I don't have any issue with it. Chris?
Yeah, no issue. I mean, I mean, he's serving our country. I think it makes complete sense. It's just a timing issue. So,
Steve?
that's all I have.
Yeah, this is a no-brainer. I support this.
Okay. And Mike, is it 17 or 20? How many days?
It's 17.
So make a motion to approve Harbor Master Mike DeMayo's 20 days advance time off for military service.
Second.
Motion's been made and duly seconded. A roll call is in order. Mr. Bradley,
Aye.
Mr. Rowland,
Aye.
Mr. Darcy.
Aye.
Unanimous vote to advance 17 days for Mike DeMayo.
17, thank you. A discussion and vote annual commercial parking permit for Green Harbor Lobster Pond. This is an annual item. I have no questions.
Questions?
No questions.
Make a motion to approve the commercial parking permit for Green Harbor Lobster Pond.
Second.
Motion's been made and duly seconded. A roll call is in order. Mr. Bradley,
Aye.
Mr. Rowland,
Aye.
Mr. Darcy.
Aye.
Unanimous vote on license renewal for the Green Harbor Lobster Pound.
Mike or Pat, is there anybody here from Eastern Bank? Anybody on from Eastern Bank today?
They weren't able to make it this evening.
Pat, are you going to make a statement for them?
Yes, I'd like.
Please, go ahead. This
Yeah,
is the
so,
donation of $5,000 from Eastern Bank
yes, it is from.
to support the Marshfield Vaccination Clinic.
Correct, yes. One of Eastern Bank, as you guys know, has holds out depository account in their local bank in town. Hedda Titman, the president of government banking, who is a friend and a colleague of mine for 13 years, reached out to Cynthia Seaman, director of operations for the Eastern Bank Foundation. And they were thrilled to be able to be given an opportunity to donate to such a great cause. And we were so happy that they offered up $5,000 immediately to us. And of course, as everyone knows the procedure, Michael, myself, none of us can take any kind of donations on the town's behalf without your approval and support. So if you guys vote that, it will go into the vaccine gift account that we already had established and voted by the selectmen, as you know, months before we started the vaccination process, as usual. So it's paying off, guys. What can we say? So with your blessing and vote tonight, we'll get this in the right hands and we'll put this to work.
Great. We want to thank Eastern Bank for the support and the generous donation, and I have no questions.
Yeah, no questions. Thanks for their support.
Yeah, we appreciate their support and generosity. It's 2 meetings in a row. We've gotten a donation from a local bank.
Yeah, we got more coming, guys.
Great.
Yeah, I'll start calling every local branch.
Encourage
I
others.
can't call them. They're calling me.
Yeah,
There you go.
let them
I
call
can't
you.
Boston funds. I'm a public official.
We appreciate the support and encourage others to think about doing so if they can. So I make a motion to accept the $5,000 from Eastern Bank to support the Marshfield Vaccination Clinic.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and duly seconded. A roll call is in order. Mr. Bradley,
Aye.
Mr. Rowland,
Aye.
Mr. Darcy.
Aye.
Unanimous vote to accept the $5,000 donation from Eastern Bank.
Oh, and it's one other thing too, to everyone, Leader Bank's coming with the big paper check and the real check. I made sure to make sure they were bringing the real check down. On Tuesday at 2 p.m., they're going to come down and take some pictures with the first responders and volunteers at the site. So that any of the members of the board of selectmen are welcome to attend. We'd love to have you guys.
Is this tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow too.
Okay. Let me
They're
just-
bringing the PGA Tour size check.
Yeah, so, yeah, yes, they are, and the real one, more importantly. I'll take the real one. The pictures are all yours.
I'll bring
Where
my
are you doing
driver
that?
for the photo. Yeah.
We do that town
Try to
hall.
make that-
No, it's at the fairgrounds, Mr. Rowland, with the first
Oh,
responders
at the-
firefighters. Yes, the bank actually has a paid professional photographer coming to take some photos with everybody. So please, it should be a great experience for everybody.
Okay, I'm just adding it to the calendar. I'm gonna try to be there if I can make it.
I'll try to.
Okay. Next up, a discussion and vote of a donation of materials
Thank
from
you.
Armstrong Fence for labor at the skate park and Frasca Landscape. Total value $1,683.02.
So if I may, Mr. Chairman, so we had that tragic accident there about a month or so ago. And Dave Armstrong, Armstrong Fence, along with Frasca Landscaping, wanted to put up a barrier because the skate park at the time of that accident, that tragic accident, was actually closed because of COVID. And when the car went in there, went through the opening right into the skate park, had it been open, there would have been kids there, and could have been a much more tragic situation. It's sad to report that the gentleman that did have that accident did pass away after that, so it's very tragic for his family. But Dave Armstrong and Landscaping are going to put up these pieces of fence so that people can still walk through, but a car won't be able to go through there. And the two of them teamed up, and it's basically they're making a donation to the town to do that. And the donation's worth $1,683.02. And that's the cost of the stock, and they're doing the labor themselves. They're
So this is
donating.
actually a barrier, Mike, a physical barrier. Will it
Yes.
actually prevent a car from going through it?
That's correct. Yeah.
That's great. 'Cause my kids have been down there multiple times and it's a real concern.
Yeah.
After that accident.
They were very concerned, both Dave and Frasca Landscaping.
Well, we thank him for taking the initiative to do that and gives us all a little peace of mind. Sorry for that family that had that horrible accident. Very glad it was closed. But and now that it's open, let's see if we can get this done as soon as possible. If we need to add to that, Mike, I'm happy to support that, even though we can't talk about that tonight, Chris or Steve. If you take a look at that and determine that while that generous donation is great, if you need to do something more to make it more secure, I'd like you to do that and hold the board, as you do it before they start working on it.
Absolutely.
Okay. So Chris, go ahead.
No, I mean, no questions. It's thanks to Armstrong and Frasca for stepping up on this and noticing a need and volunteering and donating.
Steve.
Yeah, we appreciate that generosity to make the skate park safer and more secure. And we're especially lucky because that ordinarily would have been school vacation week. So just very fortunate that it was closed at that point in time. Very lucky, and good peace of mind knowing that's going to be in place going forward, those safety measures.
All right. So make a motion to approve the donation of $1683.02 from Armstrong Fence and Frasca Landscape to make the skate park more secure.
Second.
Second, a motion been made and duly second. A roll call is in order. Mr. Bradley,
All right.
Mr. Rowland,
Aye.
Mr. Darcy.
Aye.
Unanimous vote to accept the $1,683.02 donation from Armstrong Fence and Frasca Landscape.
And seeing as we're putting Sergeant Filer to work, let's have him take a look at that, Mike.
Will do.
And
Yep.
whatever necessary enhancements need to be made, bring it back to us for a future meeting, or if it's time sensitive, pull the board and
Yes.
use the discretion on it. But that makes complete sense. I'm glad that somebody thought of it now. All right.
Yeah.
Discussion and vote on extension of the temporary closure of Haddad's Ocean Cafe. I know we initially closed, they asked to be closed for, what was the time period, Mike?
They were going to be closed the month of January and February. They decided to stay closed for the month of March, and they're very excited to be opening up on April 1st.
That's right. I was on the phone and Chuck Haddad walked by somebody the other day And I asked him when he was open, he said April 1st, so
Yeah,
I'm sure we're all.
and that's not an April Fool's.
Yeah, I'm very
Right.
excited they're opening
That's all.
April 1st as well.
So I'm really sad they had to close for this period of time due to the COVID-19, but I'm glad that they're pulling it together and open back up. So make a motion to approve the temporary or the extension of the closure of Head Eds to April the 1st.
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Bradley,
Aye.
Mr. Rowland,
Aye.
Mr. Darcy.
Aye.
A unanimous vote to accept the closure extension for Had Ads that will be opening on April 1st, 2021.
Mr. Clerk, why don't you take the next action item? Seeing as you and Mike drove the initiative to get the dog park together, so why don't you tell us about this?
So we're
next-
actually, we're gonna table that to our next meeting. Mr. Darcy's still working on a few additional members.
Okay, so when you get it ready, Steve, you can handle that
Sounds
for
good.
us. Next up, discussion and vote to appoint Kimberly Keith to represent the town of Marshfield in the South Shore Community Action Council Board of Directors. Mike, why don't you give us a brief explanation?
Sure. So the South Shore Community Action Council had two vacancies exist. One is a South Shore Community Action Board of Directors. It's a selectman's representative. And the woman that put an application in is Miss Kimberly Keith. She'll be joining the board if the Board of Selectmen vote tonight to support that. And they have a second opening and they're looking for somebody to serve, and that's a representative of the town of Marshfield that would deal in helping low-income people get assistance. So South Shore Area Council does a lot to help people that have challenges and overcome those challenges. They're a great organization. They were two vacancies, so Miss Keith is going to fill, Kimberly Keith is going to fill the Board of Directors position that's voted by the Marshfield Board of Selectmen.
I thank her for her time. I have no questions.
Yeah, no question. She seems well qualified, and I thank her for her time as well.
No questions.
Let's move to appoint Kimberly Keith to represent the town of Marshfield in the South Shore Community Action Council Board of Directors.
Second.
Motion's been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Bradley,
Aye.
Mr. Rowland,
Aye.
Mr. Darcy.
Aye.
Unanimous vote to appoint Kimberly Keith to the South Shore Action Council Board of Directors as the Marshfield Selectmen's representative.
Next up is an appointment to the Community Preservation Committee, Megan Enright. Mike, do you have everything you need from Ms. Enright?
Yes, we do.
Okay, well, I thank Ms. Enright for stepping up and volunteering her time, particularly to the CPC committee. No questions.
Yeah, no questions. Thank you for stepping up, Ms. Enright.
Yeah, it's an important committee, so appreciate her stepping up and yeah, no questions.
Move to appoint Megan Enright to the Community Preservation Committee.
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Bradley.
Aye.
Mr. Rowland,
Aye.
Mr. Darcy.
Aye.
Unanimous vote to appoint Megan Enright to the CPC.
Next up is the annual registration of fuel storage tanks. Mike, can you read the list?
Yes, I can. Okay, these are businesses that currently hold fuel storage licenses. Annual registration of these licenses need to be filed with the state by April 30th, 2021. Shoreline Aviation, Inc., DBA Marshfield Municipal Airport, 93 Old Colony Lane. Quirk Cars, Inc., Quirk Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, 830 Plain Street. Quirk Cars, Inc., Quirk Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, 955 Plain Street. G.A. Williams & Son, Williams Coal and Oil Company, 717 Plain Street. Rote Marine, LLC, Rote Marine, 2205 Main Street. Speedway, LLC, Speedway number 2470, located at 2139 Ocean Street. AL Prime Energy Consultant, Inc., Prime Gasoline, 2170 Ocean Street. Colby Enterprises, LLC, Shell, 2126 Ocean Street. Ocean Street Auto Repair and Service, Inc., DBA Ocean Street Auto Repair and Services, 2054 Ocean Street, Marshfield Country Club, DBA Marshfield Country Club, 515 Moraine Street, EM Realty Trust Public Petroleum, 1933 Ocean Street, Rand Handy Oil Company, Inc., Rand Handy Oil Company, 900 Webster Street, McDougal Brothers Enterprises LLC, DBA McDougal Brothers, 750 Webster Street, Ocean Bluff Automotive, DBA, 969 Ocean Street, Turnpike Auto Service Center, DBA Cedarville Filling Station, 430 Caswell Street, Brewer Green Harbor Marina, DBA Green Harbor Marina, 239 Dyke Road, John W. Taylor, DBA Taylor Marina, 95 Central Street. You're on mute, Mr. Chairman.
Chris or Steve, any questions on that?
No questions.
No questions.
Motion to approve the annual renewal and registrations of the fuel storage tanks as indicated.
And Mr.
Okay.
Chairman, if I can make, subject to the appropriate paperwork being filed and the fees being paid.
Subject to fees and appropriate paperwork filing with the town.
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Bradley,
Aye.
Mr. Rowland,
Aye.
Mr. Darcy.
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve fuel storage license renewal pending the appropriate paperwork and all fees being paid.
Okay. Next up is the warrant article special and annual. Mike, I don't have my copy here. Would you mind
I'm
going
gonna read
through?
through them, yep, and then we can vote on them.
And you're just gonna
Okay.
read the brief synopsis of each,
Yep.
correct?
Yep,
Okay.
we'll get through it.
Thank you.
We'll start off with the annual town meeting, Article 1. The town vote to receive the reports of town offices. Do we have to do a motion on each one of these for a vote?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Now, motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Bradley,
Aye.
Mr. Rowland,
Aye.
Mr. Darcy.
Aye.
Okay, Article 1 supported by the board. Article 2, will the town vote to establish the salaries and compensation for all elected town officers fiscal year 2022 or take any other action? It's the same standard fees, Selectmen 3417, Assessors 3687, Public Works 2180, Planning Board 1120, Board of Health 1460, and those are all divided by the appropriate number of members. Town clerk salary 83,000. It's listed moderated salary at 300. He had asked for an increase. There's an article. This is linked to Article 17. If town meeting supports Article 17, the moderated salary will go from $92 to $300. We did a survey and, places like, Plymouth for their 3 or 4 town meetings pay $1,000. This would be roughly $100 per meeting, the special and the annual in the spring and then the special in the fall.
Okay, motion to approve Article 2.
Second.
Okay, motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Bradley,
Aye.
Mr. Rowland,
Aye.
Mr. Darcy.
Aye.
Unanimous support for Article 2. Article 3 is the omnibus budget. You can see it's a number of pages. Bottom line is that the budget for FY22 is $103,174,582. Do you want me to read through every line item, or
No.
I know that everyone, you have something, okay.
We've seen it. We've done the public hearing. You've done the advisory board. The budget is available in the book. I move to approve the figure of $103,174,582 for the annual budget.
Second.
Motion's been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Bradley,
Aye.
Mr. Rowland,
Aye.
Mr. Darcy.
Aye.
Unanimous consent to accept Article 3, which is the omnibus budget. Article 4, will the town vote and raise the appropriate transfer from available sums, including water, wastewater, solid waste, retained earnings, borrow, including from the water, wastewater, solid waste enterprise funds, or otherwise provide sums recommended or any other sum or sum for capital outlay is set forth in the schedule. It's the capital budget committee. And these are articles, funding sources. They are requesting, just very quickly, what they're supporting. Purchase of the new Munis software, $1,150,000. They're supporting fire alarm system safety upgrade in the schools for $600,000. They're supporting Damon's Point South River Dock project for $87,000. They're supporting a 21-foot patrol boat, which we will surplus and sell the 19-footer to replace it. That was for $68,000. They're also doing $100,000 for cemetery expansion, $195,000 to replace truck number 162. It's a 10-wheel dump truck with plow and sander. $220,000 for road reconstruction for the DPW. $80,000 to replace a 1987 Bombardier number 121 with a 2019 Bombardier. In wastewater, radio replacement for SCADA system for $60,000. And solid waste, they're contributing towards the 1987 Bombardier replacement number 121 with a 2019 Bombardier, and they're contributing $80,000 for a total of $2,640,000.
I have no questions. Move to approve Article 4.
Second.
Motion's been made and a second. The roll call is in order. Mr. Bradley,
Aye.
Mr. Rowland,
Aye.
Mr. Darcy.
Aye.
Article 5, will the town vote for fiscal year 2022 total expenditure limitations for revolving funds? This is a very standard article every year. It sets the limits not to exceed for beaches, playing fields, integrated preschool, Gator bus, turf fields, recreation.
I have no questions.
No questions.
No
Chris
question.
and Steve, just shout out if you have a question so we can try to get through these. Motion to approve Article 5.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Bradley, Mr. Rowland, Mr. Darcy.
Aye.
Unanimous consent on Article 5. Article 6, will the town vote to raise and appropriate and/or borrow in anticipation of receipt of grant or reimbursement, Chapter 44, Section 4, Chapter 90 Fund, $748,619.
Motion to approve Article 6.
Second.
Motion been made and duly second. A roll call is in order. Mr. Bradley,
Aye.
Mr. Rowland, Mr.
Aye.
Darcy.
Aye.
Unanimous consent, unanimous vote to accept Article 6. Article 7, will the town vote to appropriate from PEG Access and Cable related fund the sum of $525,000 to be transferred to Marshfield Cable Television, Inc. to be used to support PEG Access service consistent with cable franchising agreements during fiscal year 2022, or take any other action, and for PEG for people that are watching public education and government channel.
Motion to approve Article 7.
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Bradley,
Aye.
Mr. Rowland, Mr. Darcy.
Aye.
Unanimous vote to support Article 7. Article 8, it's a planning board article. And the planning board article will add to the existing table of uses to allow for a combined medical and recreational marijuana facility. The state passed language allowing medical marijuana first and later. The state allowed recreational marijuana facilities. The town passed language to cover each individually, but not a combined facility. This article would allow a combined medical and recreational facility on the same parcel within the I-1 industrial zone.
So we've been over this extensively. We've had so many meetings on it that I really don't have any questions. The town voted to approve it, so we are here to just try to combine these two things into one, which makes complete sense to me. And I have no questions. Chris or Steve?
No questions.
No questions.
Motion to approve Article 7.
Second.
The motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Bradley,
Aye.
Mr. Rowland,
Aye.
Darcy.
Aye.
Unanimous consent on Article 7. Article 8.
I'm sorry.
Article 9.
That was motion to approve Article 8. Sorry about that, Mike.
Yeah, no problem. Article 9, will the town vote to amend the Marshfield Town Code, Chapter 305 zoning bylaw? This article modifies the existing table use for medical and recreational marijuana facilities to allow the use only in the portion of the Water Resource Protection District that is located within the I-1 industrial and is not covered under 305-1105 planned mixed-use development overlay.
Mike, what does this do to the current overlay district?
So what this will do is this allows, so in a water protection zone, there are limitations of what you can do because the water protection zone is just that. The land above protects the water below. So this will allow only this, the water protection zone is in the planned mixed use development, which is where, behind where Roach Brothers is, where the fields are, et cetera. It extends down 139 heading to the highway, the water protection zone, but it also extends on the other side of Enterprise Drive, which comes up on to Route 139. And that's outside of the PMUD. So they're saying that you can, have a facility in that area as long as it's outside the PMUD.
Okay, makes sense. Chris or Steve, anything?
No question.
Makes sense. No questions.
Motion to approve Article 9.
Second.
A motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Bradley,
Aye.
Mr. Rowland,
Aye.
Mr. Darcy. Okay.
Aye.
Unanimous consent to approve Article 9, Article 10. Existing table used to allow for combined medical, recreational marijuana in I-1 industrial zone.
Motion to approve Article 10.
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Bradley,
Aye.
Mr. Rowland, Mr.
Aye.
Darcy.
Aye.
Okay. Unanimous support on Article 10. Article 11. Let me find the explanation. It's kind of a lengthy one.
It's like 4 pages you gotta flip through, Mike. That's a lot.
Steve, you want to take over so Mike get a drink of water or something?
Okay.
I
This is-
shorted
this
it. It's
is-
actually
this
like
is-
9 pages.
This is the explanation for Article 11. This article modifies the existing floodplain zoning bylaw by adding language required by the state and FEMA. This article, by reference, July 6, 2020, will also update the zoning map to include the inland waterways flood map update. This map change will reflect the revisions from last summer for both Duxbury and Marshfield's Lomar upgrades. By approving this change, the town will remain in the FEMA flood insurance program.
So this is clearly an extension of our efforts to the letter of map review or revision helps people get out of the zone in the event that it didn't make any sense. We need to do that, and then we need to adopt it at a town meeting after those approvals,
That's
or
correct.
they can't get the benefit of the changes. So makes complete
correct.
sense. Mike, what article was this again?
Article 11, Mr. Chairman.
Any further questions, Chris or Steve?
No questions.
And this is a timing issue too, Mike. We need to do it.
Yes,
Yeah, so motion to approve Article 11.
before July, yep.
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Bradley, Mr. Rowland,
Aye.
Mr. Darcy.
Aye.
Unanimous vote to support Article 11. Article 12 is a demolition delay. This demolition of historically significant structures bylaw is being changed in 2 ways. First change is to the definition of the age of the structure requiring review. Recognizing that a building that is historically significant is likely to be older. The change specifies that structure should be at least 75 years or older instead of 50 years old. And the second thing it does is it specifies that the demolition should be done within 2 years from the date of the approval.
Makes sense to me. Motion to approve Article 12.
Second.
Motion's been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Bradley,
Aye.
Mr. Rowland, Mr.
Aye.
Darcy.
Aye.
Article 13 is the CPC article. There is $218,308 for historical reserves, $218,308 for open space and recreation reserve, $218,308 for revenues for affordable housing reserve, $82,000 worth of revenues for administrative and operating expenses, $121,000 CPA revenues for a playground at Coast Guard Hill on Ferry Street, $110,000 CPA revenues for capital improvements to the town ball fields and playgrounds, and $30,000 to appropriate from CPA revenues for more Moby mats.
Okay, motion to support Article 13.
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Bradley?
Aye.
Mr. Rowland?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Unanimous support for Article 13. Article 14, let's see. Article 14, this article is explanation of the road acceptance. The town is interested in increasing state chapter 90 funding by increase the road miles of publicly accepted roads in Marchfield, which is a major factor in determining the amount of state money received by the town on an annual basis to help maintain public roads. In the future, the DPW will bringing a mixture of newly constructed private roads open to the public at the request of abutters and older private roads that were previously approved but not accepted based on procedural problems. Currently, the town has 131 miles of accepted roads listed with the state of approximately 200 miles of road. And they are proposing adding Stony Brook Grove, Telegraph Hill, length is 2,635 feet. Ridge Road, 1,543 feet. Set Sprague, proprietors Old Wood Lot, 3,111 feet. Old Wood Lot, Set Sprague Drive, Palmer's Way, 951.60 feet. Hollow Road to Anderson Road, Anderson Drive, 1,143 feet. Ware River Lane, Spring Street, Cottage Lane, 484.9 feet. Cottage Lane, Horseshoe Lane, Cul-de-sac, 942.10 feet. Horseshoe Lane, Spring Street, Cul-de-sac, 1,168 feet for a total of 11,977.56 feet, if approved.
Well, I think it's long overdue, so motion to approve Article 14.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Bradley?
Aye.
Mr. Rowland?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Okay. Next article, the following breakdown. So, Article 15 is proposed by the DPW. Will the town vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to convey and/or transfer control of approximately 63.98 plus or minus acres of unused town land currently under the control of the Department of Public Works pursuant to Article 97 of the Articles of Amendment to the Massachusetts Constitution to the care and custody of the town's Conservation Commission for the purpose of providing priority habitat mitigation as required by the Massachusetts Endangered Species Act and as approved by the National Heritage Endangered Species Program of the Division of Fisheries and Wildlife to offset impact from development of other town-owned land and to provide permanent protection of the open space parcels shown on the plan conservation restriction plan of land near Union Street, Marshfield, Mass., prepared by S&M Surveying and Mapping Consultants, Braintree, March 13, 2013, with said land denoted and compromised of 63.98 plus or minus acres as follows. CR1 with 21.354 acres, CR2 with 3.264 acres, CR with 12.459 acres, CR4 with 26.906 acres, which includes existing camping area shown with 3.532 acres, providing mitigation for future development of approximately 18.5 acres of future expansion of Couch Cemetery or take any other action. And the explanation says the ball fields off of Rockwood Road and Couch Cemetery expansion require rare species priority habitat migration through the National Heritage and Endangered Species Program, totaling 53.07 acres out of the 63.9 plus or minus acres available. And Couch Cemetery transfer provided the NHESP the required Article 97 protection that the NESP deems appropriate for this mitigation.
So Mike, you're involved in this process, correct?
Yes, so what they're basically doing is the land that's under Article 97, because they're doing the expansion in Couch Cemetery, they did the ball fields, they displaced protected wildlife in those areas, and then they have to create other land. So this land is under Article 97. So in order to do that, they need a vote of the Board of Selectmen, they need a vote at town meeting to support changing who manages this land. The land's being transferred from the NHESP to the Conservation Commission, and the Conservation Commission will make sure that the land's protected and nothing is to be built on it, because it becomes a area for those animals that were displaced to live. Theoretically, they don't put them in the car and drive them over there, but the animals somehow migrate to this area that's now available.
Okay.
That's
Use
my
Pat-
layman's term. I hope that's all.
use Patrick's count for that. No, I remember some of this. I just didn't know it was so expansive. I haven't looked at it lately, but it makes sense to me. Any questions, Chris or Steve?
No questions.
And then this was 15, Mike, was that right?
Yes, it was Article 15, Mr.
Motion
Chairman.
to approve, support Article 15.
Second.
Motion's been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Bradley?
Aye.
Mr. Rowland?
Aye.
Darcy?
Aye.
Let's see, Article 16 is going to be passed over. And Article 17 is linked with Article 2. This is the article I had mentioned. Will the town vote and raise the salary of the town moderator from $92 annually to $300 annually? And this is to pay basically $100 per meeting, 2 meetings in the spring, 1 in the fall. If this is supported, then moderator's salary goes from 92 to 300.
I think we can give them the $208 raise. Motion to support this article.
Second.
We'll have to squeeze it out of the budget somewhere.
Okay.
Is that hourly rate below minimum wage?
Yes, yes. When you factor
Our
in all
town
the other
meetings, it
meetings
is.
he has to go to,
Yeah, I
yes.
know, it's a lot, yeah.
And remember,
how
he
quickly-
gets this divided up over 12 months.
I know.
Oh, my
92
God.
Over 12 months.
It's
Oh, my
insulting. It is kind of insulting. It is. I feel bad writing the check.
Can we go back and increase the selectman salary?
Yeah.
Good, we'll look at that next year. Absolutely.
Talk about.
I wanted to note for Article 2, I
Talk
took a
about
severe
below.
pay cut to go from BOA to the BOS. So I want the taxpayers to know that.
Yeah, talk about
Like a very
being
steep
below,
pay cut, yeah.
below
Yeah, actually, the
minimum
assess-
wage. Selectmen
Yeah.
are below minimum wage,
Well,
way
yeah.
below.
Yeah. The assessors are actually make more than the Board of Selectmen, because in 1990, when there was a severe financial crisis, the boards all lowered their salaries with the exception of the Board of Assessors. Board of Assessors, because they had a devalued property, there was so much more work, they chose not to lower their salary. So it used to be the selectmen made more than the assessors, but I just thought I'd share that little tidbit of trivia.
Motion
Hard
is,
trivia.
we already support this article?
No, we gotta do this.
Motion to
Article
support this
17. Okay, a motion's been made and second, roll call is in order. Mr. Bradley,
Aye.
Mr. Rowland,
Aye.
Mr. Darcy. Okay,
Aye.
Article 17 is supported. Okay, Article 18, I would say the board's probably not supporting this. This is a private petition article filed by Mr. Carrier. Explanation: water and sewer solid waste operating of the town became enterprise operation, no longer funded by tax levy. The vote of town meeting in 1990, Articles 26, 27, 28. The general fund divisions, which are funded by taxes, also provide services to the enterprise. I'm just reading you the explanation. Enterprise division of the cost of those services are expensed through the enterprise division as indirect charges, which are paid for the revenue in a given fiscal year. Some of the typical costs are legal from town council, the town administrator, treasurer collector, town accountant, information technology, facilities. Some of these charges are documented actual charges. Some are the probably prorate based on transaction of the enterprise as a percent of the total transaction. Some are estimates based on the subjective judgment. The offset charges are substantially based, such as the metered water and sewer, use in town buildings and facilities such as ball fields, and trash removed from town buildings and other places. such as beaches and playgrounds. DOR has from time to time issued guidelines for enterprise budgeting and has consistently stated indirect charges should be determined by an agreement prior to the adoption of this law. The Board of Selectmen voted to approve the indirect charges and offsets, and the Board of Public Works did not. Town council would rule the charges approved. With all due respect to town council, it is the opinion of the proponents of this bylaw that the DOR, which is issuing authority of the rules and guidelines of the enterprise division finances, is the appropriate neutral party of indirect disputed resolutions.
It's not true.
And it's not true. And to go into this, as the board talked about earlier, the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Public Works, about 7 years ago, put a lot of time and effort into creating this massive indirect policy that we have. And even though we have the policy, it's not to say that charges aren't adjusted each and every year. Every year before we begin the budget process, after town meeting, sometime in June or July, I sit down with the Board of Public Works and we make adjustments. What's worked, what doesn't work, what they think is unacceptable, and I try to find some common ground. This past year, we made $196,000 worth of compromises, and still, for some reason, the Board of Public Works doesn't think the indirects are working appropriately. So, one of the commissioners filed this private petition article.
So, Mike, I had some email back and forth with Mr. Carey on this. I thought that one, it's the article, if you're going to submit it, should be submitted as a DPW article, not a petition article. I think it's absolutely ridiculous that it's a petition article. I usually never really take this much of an interest in a petition article, but if the members of the Board of Public Works, the elected officials support this, have the nerve or the decency to do what you're supposed to do, is submit it as a DPW article so that you can have a meeting, so that people like the town administrator or myself can come to your meeting and tell you that we don't like it. Moreover, the petitioner isn't even on tonight's call. So I think it's just literally ridiculous that this is being done in this way. However, they got all the signatures, correct, Mike?
That is correct.
And this time they got it in on time?
That is correct.
Okay.
And follow the appropriate procedure.
I know that the enterprise accounts and the split, you and Patrick and Mike, your predecessor, God rest his soul, spent so much time to get this right, and other selectmen to get it right. This is actually a program that is used as a model for other communities. So they'll never be satisfied with the split. I'm not sure what to say to them. The only thing I do know is that if they don't like the current program, we can go back to the original split, which was much worse for them. I'm happy to do that. And Mike, I leave that up to you and Patrick. If you want to do that, submit a request to the Board of Selectmen and we'll approve it. I'm tired of dealing with this particular issue, but if they want their petition article, they can have it, but without any support from us. And it's just utterly ridiculous that this is not a DPW article. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But petition articles are allowed. So
Yes.
I move to not support this article. And Chris and Steve, you have any further comments, go right ahead.
No, I mean, I think you said it all. Mr. Bradley, we've gone down this road so many times, and with the history and, one of their former commissioners was involved in spent a lot of time along with the selectmen and putting the indirect policies together. And again, you're right. There should be a DPW article. I would vote to not support.
Steve.
Yeah, our town council reached out to the Department of Revenue, and they were very clear that they have zero interest in mediating these kinds of disputes. And they basically said that, if we can't reach a new agreement, that they'll just revert to the most recently agreed upon, split. So, I feel like that kind of ends the conversation right there. Whatever the most recent agreement was that both boards voted on, the DOR said that's what they'll revert to. So, that's kind of the end of the conversation right there. We're all on the same team here. We're all trying to do the best job we can for the folks who live here in Marshfield. And there seems to be some sort of, adversarial mindset, which I don't understand. And they try to delineate between taxpayers and the ratepayers. And there's a lot of overlap there. You live in town, you're a taxpayer, you use town water, you're a ratepayer. There's like a 99% overlap between those two different groups. So they're not separate, distinct groups. It's the same people. we're on the same team here. It shouldn't be so adversarial. And yeah, I don't support this article. It's citizens petition.
Great. Thank you. So no support for Article 18. Article 19 is another private petition article by Monica Natali. And
Looks like Miss Natali is on, Mike.
oh, okay, yes.
Miss Natali, if you want to give a very, if you can give you 2 minutes to explain your article, we'll go ahead and act on it.
Sure. Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. Mr. Chairman, Board of Selectmen, thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak in support of this article warrant. The reason why I decided to go forth on this issue is because of the outrage I and many other Marshfield residents felt when the Garden Bros Circus was allowed to perform in April 2019. I was one of the few protesters that braved the inclement weather at that time, but I cannot forget the sadness I felt seeing one of the elephants swaying back and forth, a typical sign of distress. On one of those evenings, Chief Tavares approached our group and assured us that he would never allow a circus of that kind to perform again in town. Just this morning, I actually spoke with Officer Webb, the Marshfield ACO, and he also affirmed his support. Many Marshfield residents instead took to Facebook to complain on the matter. There were like lots of posts about it. This demonstrates a growing awareness of the cruelty associated with wild animals and circuses. They used to advertise themselves as the greatest show on earth. Now they're referred to as the cruelest show on earth. Everything about them is cruel. These are the main point of concerns. First, abusive training. Wild animals don't perform tricks because they want to. They perform them because they're afraid of what will happen to them if they don't. Trainers use brutal methods to achieve their objective, including beating with bull hooks, whips, and sticks. They also use electric shock. Second, constant confinement. These animals live a horrible life. They're separated from their family at a young age, spend most of their time in cages, many times changed. They're deprived of adequate exercise, social interaction, and no opportunity to express their natural behaviors, often exhibiting signs of distress. Third, public safety. They're also unpredictable and they can put the public at risk. There have been many incidents over the years with hundreds of people being injured. Also, elephants carry tuberculosis and they can transmit it to humans, as stated by the CDC. Unfortunately, there's very limited oversight on the federal level. That is why many municipalities are taking it into their own hands to pass bans. 155 localities in 37 states and 13 here in Massachusetts, including Braintree, Weymouth, Quincy, and Plymouth in the South Shore. So I hope Marshfield will be next.
Thank you. I remember that circus and how bad it was, or that particular show. So do you plan to be at town meeting?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. So again, I personally support it and I want to let it go to town meeting, but generally we don't support petition articles, and rarely, as opposed to the last petition article, we really don't take negative action on it. So I think your best bet is to make your pitch to the people on town meeting. I think you'll probably get good support from the town. So Chris and Steve, if you have any questions or comments.
Yeah, I too remember, and I think we actually voted to pull. I mean, I may be wrong, but I think we pulled their permit or something to that effect, and we did publicly express our dismay for that circus at that time. And I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. Take it to town meeting. I think you'll get the results you'd like.
Thank you. Thank
We
you.
told them don't bother coming back.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Steve.
Yeah, Monica, thank you for patiently waiting this whole time to kind of talk about your petition article. You made it to the dance floor, so congratulations. And
Thank you.
I feel like you'll be in good shape for town meeting for sure. I think you're, definitely supporting a very good cause. Absolutely. So I feel like you're in good shape for town meeting.
Great. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good evening.
All right. Again, just motion to take no action on this.
Action. Yep.
No position, excuse me.
No position. Yep. Next, we're on to special town meeting warrant. Article 1 is, will the town vote to approve expenditure of a late paid bill, $182.18. Solid Waste City Hall Systems. This is how we pay outstanding bills. We need a 9/10 support to pay the bill.
Motion approved.
Second.
Second, motion been made and duly second. The roll call is in order. Mr. Bradley,
Aye.
Mr. Rowland,
Aye.
Mr. Darcy.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Next is Article 2. Article 2 serves as disbursement for much needed funds for a myriad of projects from towns, departments that requested all across all of our departments. And this is town vote to transfer $1,030,000 from certified free cash, $205,000 from water retained earnings, $205,000 from wastewater retained earnings, $205,000 solid waste retained earnings, for a disbursement of $1,645,000 for the following items detailed in the chart. And very quickly, I'll go through it. The state assessment, $155,000. Funding for a 2 board of health nurses, $90,000. Funding for a full-time assistant conservation agent, $40,000. Additional election costs, $50,000. Master plan, $30,000. Replace pickup number 155 with a 2020 Chevy 2500 with plow and sander, $55,000. Command car for the fire department, $55,000. Munis software, $930,000. Reserve fund, additional $50,000. General insurance, $150,000. IT position, $40,000. That tallies to $1,645,000.
Motion approved, Article 2.
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Bradley,
Aye.
Mr. Rowland,
Aye.
Mr. Darcy.
Aye.
Article 3, will the town vote to close out the ball fields revolving fund as of 6/30/21 and move the funds to the general fund, whereas all receipts received shall be considered general fund revenues. Board of Selectmen, working with the Board of Public Works, has agreed to close out the ball fields revolving fund and treat all ball fields as DPW expenditure. This will allow consistent cash flow for the DPW crews to service the town's beautiful ball fields and recreation space. The exact amount will not be shown until 6/30/21.
Mike, did you work with the superintendent on this issue?
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. Yeah. We
Do
support
they have
that.
adequate coverage? and
Yes, they
funding?
do.
Take care of
Probably
it.
had to change it.
That's why we had to change it, make sure that they had, the problem is, when it was done the old way, they had to wait for the money to come in. This way here, it's much more
Right.
consistent. They're gonna act like a regular department. They'll have money when they have to seed, when they have to fertilize, when they have to sand, aerate, et cetera.
Okay, motion approved, Article 3.
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Bradley,
Aye.
Mr. Rowland.
Aye.
Mr. Darcy.
Aye.
Unanimous vote to support Article 3. Article 4, Board of Selectmen, with the cooperation of the Board of Public Works and the school committee, has determined that these funds listed in the above chart may be closed out to the original financing source or further appropriated to a similar project. Schools, boiler replacement, Furnace Brook Middle School, original funding source, $7,074.45. School floor tile, ATM 419, number 4, original funding source, $48,827. DPW engineering, Dyke Road, Sluiceway repair, special town meeting, 4 of 19, article number 3, original funding source, $400. Water bond design, Furnace Brook 3, well carbon filter house, $75,000. DPW engineering, Summer Street drainage design, ATM 4, 2009, transfer from closeout to NPDS permit, BMP implementation for $58,076.04. DPW engineering, transfer from South River Dredge, C Street Bridge, original funding source, $389.76. DPW engineering, revetment design, special town meeting, 11/19, Article 6, close out to emergency repairs at Ocean Bluff Seawall, $314,000. Fire ambulance, special town meeting, 11/19, Article 11, original funding source, close out to $961.01. Facility van, special town meeting, 4/19, Article 3, close out to original funding source, $1,147.76. Water other capital outlay, Water tank, close out to water tank painting, 360,000. Water other capital outlay, generators, 50,000. That adds up. Total transfer or closeout, 915,876 and 2 cents.
Motion to approve Article 4.
Second.
Motion's been duly made and second. A roll call is in order. Mr. Bradley,
Aye.
Mr. Rowland,
Aye.
Mr. Darcy, unanimous support for Article 4. Article 5, Board of Selectmen are seeking to increase the fees for violation of local peddling and solicitation bylaw as a detriment to violation. This is amending the Town Code General Bylaw, Chapter 184, peddler and soliciting by increasing the fine set forth 184-12 for any person who violates the provisions of Chapter 184 and does not obtain a local hawk or peddler license issued by the town of Marshfield. The fee will go from 100 to 500 per day.
We already went over this. Motion to approve Article 5.
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Bradley,
Aye.
Mr. Rowland, Mr. Darcy.
Aye.
Unanimous support, Article 5. Article 6, will the town vote to amend the Marshfield General Bylaw, number 15, by adding language in italics to the text to the end of existing bylaw after the general citation. The original language does not reflect the changes to municipal operations that occur when the water, sewer, and solid waste operations of the town become enterprise operations at the 1990 annual town meeting by Articles 26, 27, and 28, and were no longer funded by tax levy. This change to the bylaw will also implement the intent of the vote of the April 2016 annual town meeting in Article 13, authorizing an audit of the indirect charges of the enterprise division, which the Board of Selectmen chose not to implement. So this is a Board of Public Works bringing back the whole issue of auditing the indirects
This is the same issue.
from a few years ago.
Same
Yes,
circle.
Same circle.
Same issue where they were told it was a legal article,
Yep.
correct?
yes.
Again, they're not here to discuss why.
Yeah.
Motion to not support Article 6.
Okay, motion was made not to support. We have a second. Seeing that, Mr. Bradley,
Aye.
Mr. Rowland,
Aye.
Mr. Darcy.
Aye.
Unanimous, no support by the Board of Selectmen for Article 6. Okay,
Mike, do me a favor before we move on.
yes,
Know these, when will the advisory board vet these articles?
Joint hearing.
at the joint hearing, which is
Yeah, next week.
from Tuesday. Yep.
Tuesday.
That's a good thing I asked. I'll have it on the schedule. So, okay. Go right ahead, Mike. We'll talk.
Okay,
about-
Article 7, this is a Board of Public Works article. This article is being submitted in an effort to identify the retained earnings that are to be used during fiscal year 2021 to offset the expenses for each of the 3 enterprise accounts. Will the town vote to appropriate the sum of $1,575,000 to cover the cost of fiscal year 2021 solid waste and water enterprise expenses, and to meet the appropriation, transfer the sum of $770,000 from the solid waste enterprise retained earnings, the sum of $400,000 from the wastewater enterprise retained earning, and the sum of $400,000 from the water enterprise retained earnings. Said funds to be expended in a direction the DPW superintendent and general supervisor of the public works.
Mike, this is a normal article for them,
This is a
correct?
normal, yeah.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Roll call is in order. Mr. Bradley,
Aye.
Mr. Rowland,
Aye.
Mr. Darcy.
Aye.
Unanimous support for Article 7. Article 8, Board of Public Works, will the town increase the FY 2021 solid waste budget appropriation by $300,000 from $4,697,021 to $497,021 for additional solid waste disposal and transportation, $300,000 expenses anticipated, with said expense being deferred to solid waste enterprise retaining. And this is the increase of the contract, $700,000 for the trash collection.
Any questions, Chris or Steve?
No questions.
Motion to approve Article 8.
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Bradley,
Aye.
Mr. Rowland,
Aye.
Mr. Darcy.
Aye.
Unanimous consent to support Article 8. Article 9 is additional information was required on a plan to clarify easements, adding additional easements taken of parcels occupying and claiming land of owners unknown. This is Board of Selectmen. Will the town vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to acquire by purchase, gift, to eminent domain taking, or otherwise, and further grant, provided there is compliance with Mass General Laws 30B as applicable, certain reciprocal cross easements for the purpose of vehicular and pedestrian access for the installation, use, and maintenance of drainage facilities and for the installation, use, and maintenance of utilities over various parcels and roadways with the adjoining enterprise park and adjoining lands affecting assessors parcels E09-01-15. I'll skip reading the numbers. Rockwood Road, Progress Way, Commerce Way, and more particularly described as shown on the plan of land prepared by Steinbeck and Taylor, 844 Webster Street, Marshfield, Mass., entitled Easement Overlay Plan, Enterprise Park, Marshfield, Mass., dated February 10, 2021, and filed with the town clerk with no land damages paid by the town of Marshfield or taken any other action relative thereto.
Steve, is this something you haven't? Steve Gard, I see that you've come on. Do you have an interest in this article, Steve? Article 9?
Mike, it's Steve Gard here so this is a sort of a joint petition sponsored by the Department of Public Works to help sort of rectify the ball field drainage issues that are there. The plans that I've submitted that will be part of the article, again, by the DPW, 2-page plans. The first one will show in 2 colors the benefited parties to the various easements. Red is the town of Marshfield, green is the VRT Corp. So VRT Corp is going to get a pipe across and underneath the ball fields to drain water from an existing drainage basin. Then they will create a drainage structure along the lot line of the ball field. Then it'll eventually connect to the big drainage lot, 27M on Commerce Way, down the road by a series of various easements over VRT land. The 2 other items on the plan that would be essentially beneficial to the town is the walking path from Rockwood Road down to the back of the ball field will connect the park walking paths that the town has established in other parts. And then Rockwood Road is still a private way, albeit open to the public, but the town doesn't have any rights in that way because it does own the land at the end of the way. So this article will also address those issues, giving the town pedestrian, vehicular, and installation and maintenance of utilities within Rockwood Road for the purpose of serving that corner of the ball field. So the second page of the plan that will be used at town meeting is a multicolored plan that identifies each easement by its own respective color. And then there is a table that I've prepared that's also color coded with a brief legal explanation. And then in bold and italicized print is a colloquial explanation of, what the purpose of that particular easement is. This has been before the board a couple of times. We've gotten it to the 5-yard line, and it was determined at both of those things, 2 things. That it was too complicated to really understand the way we had set it up with multiple plans and multiple easements. So it was felt to create an omnibus plan so everybody could see exactly what was happening. I have had a meeting with Bob Galvin whereby we reviewed the proposed article, the plans as having been revised. He asked for the plans to be color coded rather than crosshatched. That was the purpose of that. And he is insisting that 30B be required to be complied with in the event that it is determined that the easement that the town is going to end up granting to VRT needs to be put out for an RFP. VRT will be granting the town all of the other easements to get the ball field water to the drainage lot on VRT. So not to mention that VRT will be responsible for purchasing and installing all of the infrastructure that's contemplated by the easements.
All right. Any questions, Chris or Steve?
No, I appreciate the explanation, Steve, and I think that makes sense.
Yeah,
It's
Steve,
a little.
yep. Go ahead.
Well, I was just saying it's a little. it's a little tough to follow the bouncing ball, but I think if the color coding really does bring out the situation as far as reciprocal, quid pro quo, and to be able to address the drainage problems that the ball field is currently having in a way, I think is it will help both parties. Both parties are going to benefit from this. There's no question about it. And VRT is happy to do it. And it's all tied into the other articles that we had last year for the ball, for the dog park and whatnot. So it's just rounding out all this recreational area with a walking path, drainage structures and whatnot.
Okay. Motion to approve this article.
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Bradley?
Aye.
Mr. Rowland? Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous support for Article 9. Article 10.
Thank
is
you.
a article
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Supported by the Board of Selectmen. And this was, will the town vote to amend the Marshfield Town Code, Chapter 305, zoning bylaw, Article 5, use regulations by adding a new section 305-501A as set forth below. Purpose of this section is to temporary aid restaurants and public recovering from COVID-19 pandemic and to provide the town with sufficient time to evaluate, address, and regulate outdoor seating. Notwithstanding anything in the bylaw contrary, all restaurants in the town, whether permitted as a right or by special permit, may, with the approval of the Board of Selectmen, provide outdoor seating as a right, including liquor services, subject to the approval ABCC if required for the period of June 22nd, 2020 to December 1st of 2021. And the impetus behind doing a town meeting article is that right now, we allow this because of the governor's executive order. The Board of Selectmen voted to do that. What this does is it gives the restaurants who are investing money in outdoor seating and whatever changes, the governor's executive order, if things went perfect, hypothetically, let's say his executive order, was up on June 1st. That means that restaurants not by right, and don't have the land, et cetera, wouldn't be able to have outside seating. So just makes it a little more predictable for an industry that's been hard hit. That's why the selectmen voted to insert this into the warrant, just so that town meeting would vote. If they support it, then those restaurants know from a time certain, from June 22nd through December 1st, they'll have outside seating.
Great. Makes complete sense. Chris or Steve?
Yep. Nope, all set.
No questions.
Motion to approve Article 10.
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Bradley?
Aye.
Mr. Rowland?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy? Okay. Article 11 is a private petition article by Dave Carrier. And this is an audit. Such audit shall include a detailed explanation of all enterprise division accounts, including actual cost basis of all general fund indirect charges and the basis of all enterprise division offset. The original language does not reflect the changes to municipal operations that occurred when water, sewer, and wastewater operations of the town became enterprise operations and no longer funded by tax levy. This change to the bylaw will implement the intent of the voters at the April 2016 annual town meeting. Article 13, authorizing an audit of the indirect charges of the enterprise division, which the Board of Selectmen chose not to implement. Petition article by David Carrier.
Is this just the same thing as his other
Yes,
article?
yeah, same thing. Yeah.
Why is it in here twice?
I don't know. He was maybe just hoping that if he said it enough times, people might believe it.
Well, I urge you to have the town moderator link these articles so they don't have to
Yes,
do
I
it.
will.
Again, I've already been heard on this tonight. It's utterly ridiculous, and Mr. Carrier is not here to support his petition article that directly benefits or doesn't benefit the DPW.
Yeah.
Motion to not support it.
Second.
Second, a roll call is in order. Mr. Bradley?
Aye.
Mr. Rowland?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy? Vote not to support Article 11 is unanimous.
Well done, Michael. Well done.
That's all of them, Mike?
That's all of it. Just so folks know, as I promised the week before, we would have the warrant out. So tomorrow, the warrant will be available online. People will be able to get a copy.
Okay. Now the only thing remaining, do we have enough signatures for the minutes?
Yes, to do.
Motion to accept the minutes, February, is it 22nd, Mike?
22nd, 2021.
Motion.
Motion's been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Bradley?
Aye.
Rowland? Mr.
Aye.
Dasty.
Aye.
Unanimous vote to accept the minutes of February 22nd, 2021.
Motion to adjourn, gentlemen.
Second.
Motion to adjourn has been made and second. A roll call is in order. Mr. Bradley,
Aye.
Roland, Mr.
Aye.
Dasty.
Aye.
Unanimous vote to adjourn. Thank you and good evening.
Thanks, everyone.
Guys, have a great night.
Thank you.
Good night, guys.
Good night.